Today you're going to learn how to solve proportions. On Monday, you're going to be comparing the area and the side lengths of different objects that you see, and you're going to be setting up proportions. Proportions are this. They're equations that compare parts of one object to parts of another object. This will make a lot more sense when we do our lesson on Monday, but I just want you to learn how to solve these different equations. I'm going to show you the long way for how to do proportion, or how to solve a proportion, and I'm going to show you the shortcut way after you've kind of mastered the long way. Let me show you what a proportion looks like first, though. A proportion basically looks like this. It's two fractions, and these fractions indicate different parts of a shape, or different sides, or different areas, different lengths. And it's two fractions that are equal to each other. And there's usually a variable that you have to solve for. We'll go over how to solve this in just a second. Before I show you how to solve this proportion using the long way, let's go over our solving for x skills. So, review, solving for a variable. How do you do it? We have this equation, negative 9x plus 1 equals negative 80. And I'm going to go ahead and write some tips I like to use when I solve for x. So tip number 1 is this. Put x on one side of the equation, put the numbers on the other. So since x is already on the left side of the equal sign, I'm going to keep it there, but I want to move all the numbers over to the right side of the equal sign. And the other tip I like to follow is this. Do the opposite to solve for x. Let's do this example together. First, I'm going to draw a line that goes down the middle of the equal sign, and that just reminds me to keep things on different sides. That reminds me that there's a left side of an equation, and then there's a right side of the equation. And then I want to start moving all the numbers over to the right side. And I want to move the numbers that are farthest away from x first, and then address the numbers that are closer. We have this one here. The opposite of plus 1 is negative 1. And what I do to one side, if I subtract negative 1 on one side, I have to subtract negative 1 on the other side. So plus 1 and negative 1 cancel out, but I'm left with negative 9x. Negative 80 and negative 1 are both negative, and since they're kind of on the same team, I'm going to add them together, and I get negative 81. Now I still don't have x by itself, and I notice that this negative 9 is multiplied onto x. So the opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to go ahead and divide that by negative 9, divide that by negative 9. Negative 9 divided by negative 9 just becomes 1. So I'm left with 1x equals, and a negative 81 divided by negative 9 just gives me 9. So that's my answer. Okay, so let's begin the long way for solving proportions. I'll do two examples, and then I'll do the same two examples with the shortcut way. And the reason why I want you to learn the long method is so you understand why the shortcut method works. Example number 1. We have n over 4 equals 8 over 7, and we need to solve for n. The first thing that we need to do is we need to pick a side for n, and we need to pick a side for the numbers. And since n is already on the left side of the equation, I'm going to keep it on that side. And we want to move all the numbers that are on the same side as n over to the side with the numbers. The first thing I notice here is that n is being divided by 4. And remember, to get rid of numbers and move them over to the other side, we want to do the opposite. So the opposite of division here is multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply this whole thing by 4. And since I multiply that by 4, I need to multiply this side by 4. 4 divided by 4, or 4 times n over 4, gives us just 1, so we're left with n. And then 4 written as a fraction is 4 over 1, and remember when we multiply fractions, we multiply across the top and we multiply across the bottom. So 8 times 4, and we also do 7 times 1. So we get 32 over 7. And unfortunately, that can't simplify it any further, and that's our answer. Let's do another example. Example number 2. What happens if the variable is on the bottom? Like this. We have 4 over k, and k is our variable, equals 8 over 2. Again, we want the variable to be on one side, and we want the numbers to be on another side. But k is kind of on the bottom, so we have to do a little bit of manipulation. To get k to kind of go up to the top, we have to do the following thing. We need to multiply this side by k. And then since we multiply the left side by k, we need to multiply the right side by k. And k divided by k, like any number divided by itself, just gives us 1, right? So we're left with 4. And k as a fraction is just k over 1. And remember, we want to multiply across the top, so 8 times k. And 2 times 1. So we get 4 equals 8k. 8 times k is just 8k. 2 times 1 is just 2. And then I can simplify this equation in a couple of different ways. But let's try it this way. Again, k is not by itself yet. And we want to deal with the numbers that are farthest away from k. And right now, that number that's farthest away from k is this 2 that's being divided. To get rid of it, we do the opposite. So opposite of division is multiplication, so we multiply that by 2. And since we multiply the right side by 2, we have to multiply the left side by 2. So let's simplify. 2 times 4 is 8. And since we have 2 divided by 2, we just get 1, so that cancels out. And we're left with 8k. And then k is not by itself yet, but 8 is multiplied onto k, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So we just divide this side by 8, and we have to do the same thing to this side. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. And 8 divided by 8 cancels out to 1. And we just get 1k, or k equals 1. And that's our answer. So what I want you to do is go ahead and try problems 1 through 6 on page 33. And then when you're done with those problems, come back to the video. I'll show you the shortcut so you can do the rest of the problems in this shortcut. Now you're ready for the shortcut method. And it's simply the cross multiplication method. Go ahead and pause this video, copy down these problems again, and then when you're done, you can start the video over again. Okay, example number 1. We did the proportion n over 4 equals 8 over 7. With the cross multiplication method, all you simply do is you multiply the top of the left side by the bottom of the right side, or the numerator by the denominator. So you do 7 times n, which gives us 7n, and then you put an equal sign there, And you do the same thing on the other side. You multiply the top numerator by the denominator. And you get 8 times 4, which is 32. And you have to solve for n, so divide by 7. Divided by 7. N equals 32 divided by 7. And that's our answer. And let's just check to see if that matches up with the long method. And yes, it does. Let's try cross multiplication with example number 2 as well. Again, you take the top numerator of the left side, you multiply it by the bottom denominator on the right side. So 4 times 2 is 8 equals, and you do the same thing on the other side. Top numerator divided or times the denominator of the other side. So we have k times 8, which is equal to 8k. And we want to get k by itself, so we can solve for it. So we're going to divide by 8 on both sides here. 8 divided by 8 gives us 1. 8, the 8's here cancel out, and we get k equals 1. And let's just check to see if that matches up with the long way. And yes, it does. So cross multiplication does work. It is the shortcut way. But I do want you to understand how the shortcut came about. So if you feel comfortable with that, go ahead and try the rest of the problems on page 33. So finish the problems on page 33.